If the applause stopped tomorrow, would you still believe that you're enough? Let's talk about it right after this.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
So if you listened to the last episode, I had asked you to take the time to understand that you don't have to have everything all figured out, and that your value isn't defined by validation. A lot of times as we sit down and we think that we have it all figured out, that someone's going to applaud us, that we're going to be praised or whatever the situation might be. And so in those moments, we can become dependent in doing things just because we can get that type of positive reinforcement. And most people will get that. And a lot of us, we find fuel in that. But it's not always sustainable because, unfortunately, there's going to be a time when the next hot thing comes up. And hot thing could be the next website, the next app, the next person that's doing a bang up on their presentation or whatever it is. It's not going to stay. It's not going to stay consistent every single time for a very long period of time, especially in the day and age that we're in, where it's not about what you've done for me yesterday. It's really about what you've done for me this very second, not even 3 seconds ago. So what is it that you need to do to understand that the world is constantly asking for your performance? And but your peace doesn't come from the performance. It comes from being present or from presence. See, and I'll speak from my own experiences of thinking that I'm doing a great job and I'm going to go out here and do what I need to do. I feel very good about my opportunities, whatever it is. And so in the past, as I was working, I would go to a team meeting and have to do a presentation, bring something to the team. And so I am thinking that what I am presenting or how we can move our department further, it was a great idea. And it might have ticked a few boxes. But what I did not know in this particular meeting was that there was someone else that was going to do a presentation as well. I should have known, but I was so caught up in my own thing that, I didn't pay attention. And so this person, this individual, had done a presentation as well. And in that individual and that process was implemented. Mine was not. And that's because I was told that mine did not check all the boxes, one. And number two is I finally found out a little later on that certain people had the inside information. And so because I was awaiting for the applause, I was waiting for it to be implemented, that I lost track of who I am in that space, of not just saying, hey, Maurice, you know what, you've done it. You did create a great presentation, and that there were just some other things that was kind of working against you a little bit. And it happens in almost any place that you go. There's the political ideas, situations, whatever it is. It happens. It's not foreign. It's not a situation that people don't deal with on an everyday basis. It just comes with the territory. And so I just want you to know that validation can become an addiction, right? That slowly replaces authenticity. And in that moment, I had to be authentic to myself. I had to be present for myself. And when you build your life on others' approval, you can lose yourself trying to be accepted because you're looking for that individual or that group and you're trying to fit in. But wait a second, you are an individual. You are set apart for a reason. That's why entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Everyone can't do it. Everyone is not built for it. Doing this podcast, especially on my own, it wasn't for everyone, and I didn't believe that I was. And I didn't start the podcast for applause. I wanted to prove to myself that I could do something on my own. And I hope that each and every one of you can find that place for yourselves. Because real freedom comes when you stop chasing the applause and start honoring what the assignment is. And my assignment is to help keep each and every one of you encouraged. Because just like the show says, that will never work. How many times have you heard that? How many times have someone told you, your dream that's not reality? So I really would like for you to understand that, again, real freedom comes from when you stop chasing the applause. And Maurice, what do I need to do? How do I start to change the atmosphere in it? Well, think about it like this. Can you wake up in the morning and look at yourself and say, I am enough, even when no one else notices? Can you really believe it? And I saw a video not too long ago where this young lady who was encouraged by her father to speak morning affirmations to herself in the mirror before she went to school. And it is such the most touching situation because all of us do not have that type of outside influence, that encouragement. So I really would like for you to do that. I am enough, even when nobody else notices. And also, what I have learned most recently, that to choose a day where you truly unplug, where you're not scrolling on social media, where you're not having a conversation where you're comparing. Just take a time to reconnect with you and your thoughts. Be authentic and show up authentically for yourself. Because your worth isn't something that you earn. It is truly something that you embrace. It is something that you take the time to acknowledge. Because you were valuable before anyone believed in you. And a lot of times we lose that track of that our value was always there. And that you'll still be valuable after and even long after someone has stopped watching you. Because even though you don't see the people and you're still working on yourself, by the time because everything is cyclical, by the time it gets back around to you again, then people are going to be like, oh, wow, how come I didn't see that coming? So I want you to be able to continue to work on yourself and understand that everyone's not going to always be there to hold your hand through the process. So I would love for you to take the moment and write on a sticky, put it in your phone, whatever it might be, that your value is not negotiable. Again, your value is not negotiable. And I want you to place it somewhere. Put it somewhere where you can see it every day. Because this confidence that we're working on, I need you to grow it and to remind yourself that you were valuable before the world told you. Pretty much. Because you were. And then when the fear, when you no longer fear of not, receiving the applause or the idea of being disapproved or whatever it might be, you start taking bigger risk. Because a lot of times we're looking for these moments of applause and we're not taking a bigger risk. And so for me, taking the time to do that presentation, it wasn't big enough. It wasn't thinking outside the box enough. And sometimes those risks will lead to failure, right? But what if your failure really was not the final answer? It wasn't the final draw. It wasn't the final boss if you play video games. What if it was that feedback that would shape your greatness? And sometimes we lose track on the value of the feedback. So because this is a series, we will unpack it in the next episode. We'll talk about it a little later.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chisholm on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?